Today, let's start the first lecture on small and medium-sized campus scenarios, which is N multiply N batch deployment, also known as intent-driven deployment. Our test purpose is to verify that Huawei Cloudcampus solutions support M multiply N deployment. One template is used to deploy multiple sites. You can set customized parameters for each site as required. N multiply N deployment can meet the needs of multi-branch campuses. Different sites may have slight configuration differences. Except those differences, they usually share the same service scale, device model, and device quantity, as we can see in the figure following. N multiply N deployment involves the following steps. First, we create a template task. Then we define global variables and complete configuration. After that, we release the template and create sites in batches. Our expected result is the template can be released successfully, and Site 1 and Site 2 can be established with the template we created. There are also some precautions we need to pay attention to. First, collect the customer's network status, whether the entire network and single-site network meets the M multiply N model. Second, during the formal M multiply N deployment, complete information collection is required for the single-site network, and the components and variables that need to be input during template preparation are summarized by comparison with the similar sites. Third, prepare the template according to the guide. Mark the device model in the remarks so that the ESN can be entered during deployment. And the last, after the preparation is complete, you can select Publish or Export. Here's the troubleshooting roadmap if you have some problems. First, if you are not familiar with the M multiply N application scenarios, we advise to refer to test cases and non-related documents. Second, if the arrangement is improper, it is recommended that you should communicate with some experts to develop a more proper template model. Okay, so now we are at the homepage of NCE Controller website. We click Intent-Driven Deployment in the lower left corner, and I have created a template called M multiply N previously. So we choose this template, and we can see all the steps we have created, including the creation of sites, creation of core aggregation and access devices, and creation of all those interfaces, creation of the AP, and we also can see the creation of AP SSID. Before we set these steps, we must be sure to define global variables because they will be used in subsequent configurations. After defining all those global variables on the left side, you can click Copy to copy the global variable and paste it to the configuration on the right side. And we set the device type to AP and LAN switches. And after configuring the input side, you also need to set the output parameters. Click the output parameters, select the parameters, and save settings. After saving, you can view the output variable below the global variable. Similarly, when configuring device parameters, you need to define the global variables of the device name and device ESN. The global variables of core device, aggregation device, access device, and AP are basically the same. And don't forget to configure the output parameters. In the interface setting, you need to reference the created global variables or saved device variables. In addition, you need to enter the interface and configure related parameters. For example, we set the link type to trunk here, and we allow paths WLAN 1, 10, 20, and 30. We perform the same configuration on the interface of aggregation device and access device. And when we creating an APSSID device, reference the output side ID and SSID name defined on the global variable to configure the effective radio. Here we choose the semi-open configuration, and we use global variable SSID1 key as the security key. After finishing all the configurations, we click Release or Export in the upper right corner. Here we select Release and we enter the name of template 1 and click OK. And we will see the template is released successfully. We click Intent-Driven Deployment on the top of the page, and we can choose Online Input, Import File, or Import from Third-Party System. Here we first select Online Input to create the first site. So we enter all the configuration contents, and we click Start. And the site will be established automatically according to the steps we created earlier. So here we click OK. You can see the device and site has been established one by one. Okay, here we click OK again. Okay, so the site has been established successfully. So now we return to the home page of the controller and we click Design Site Management. We can see Site 1 has been successfully created. Then we click Provision, Site Configuration, Switch, and choose the interface. Select the interface, interface 1. Okay, and we can see the corresponding configuration is automatically delivered to the specific switch interface. Similarly, check the Wi-Fi configuration. We check the AP Wi-Fi, and we can see SSID1 has been created. Okay, now we go back to the intent-driven deployment again, and let's create Site 2. This time we select Import File. Before importing the file, we need to download the variable template first and enter the variable value. After importing the variable template, we click Start to create the second site. We click OK. Site 2 will be created the same as Site 1. Click OK again. Okay, now it's finished. Okay. So let's go back to the design, select site management, and we can see site 2 has been created successfully. And we go to the provision, select site configuration. We switch the site from site 1 to site 2 and click switch interface. Okay, so we can see the configuration has been delivered to the switch, and we click AP Wi-Fi, we can see the SSID2 has been created. Okay, so that's all. Today we learned how to set M×N batch deployment, so-called intent-driven deployment, on the controller. And I hope you enjoy the lecture, and see you next time.